The one thing that we should never take for granted is just housing as a basic human right. And the story of Chinatown, the story of Ping Yuen, is a story that goes on all around the world. How do you fight to save housing? So sometimes folks don't picture civil rights or housing rights as an Asian American concern. But thank God for the Ping Yuen tenants, because they've been fighting all their lives, and that story has not been told.
我叫陳方武，我喺北平縣住嘅。我嚟咗呢冇幾耐，咁你經過親戚同埋朋友，即係講話平遠呢係幾好嘅。第一，佢有個集中嘅地點，咁啊第二就係屋租平啦，咁啊第三呢又近住唐人埠。因為我哋唔識英文嘅人呢，就最中意唐人埠。如果冇咗平遠，我哋呢啲低下收入嘅人呢就好麻煩，最多係即係出去租嗰啲散屋、散房，係咁樣噶啦。
So when you live in crowded conditions, there's health issues. There's also mental health issues. It gets crazy being jam-packed in the community. And public housing is actually pretty good because they have a lot of bedrooms. Most of Chinatown are what they call SROs, single-room occupancies. So people living in one room, and they have to share the bathroom and the kitchen. So the public housing is actually a good relief for families squeezed into those single rooms. That's why I said Ping Yuen or public housing is so important, and we got to preserve it and keep it going.
咁嗰啲平院咧就1952年就起好啦。咁嗰啲咪我個先生係退伍軍人咯，所以佢申請入嚟住咯，咁啊住到今時今日咯。
I keep getting inspired by people that I'm working with, my co-workers, tenant leaders, leaders in the community, people who are working in it all together. Ping Yuen Resident Improvement Association was one of the grassroots groups that has to deal with housing.
自從有咗嗰個平院居民聯議會之後呢，就樣樣都可以出聲，有咩唔啱就可以出聲。
Ping Yuen was sort of a symbol of Chinese Americans being able to advocate for themselves and to get government support, which they deserved because they've been paying taxes for centuries.
Well, it always takes something crazy to happen before action takes place. And so the Ping Yuen tenants have been asking for years for gates, for security, better lighting, because the lights are real dim in the hallways.
第一就係北平院，為因有個女仔叫做 Julie Wong 入咗升降機， 咁嗰個人就衝入去升降機，喺升降機處咧拖嗰個人出嚟，喺3樓嗰個騎樓處強姦佢先嚟抌佢落去。咁我啲咪開始，我呢個聯誼會就係咁樣啊，咪搞罷租咯。罷租係唔交房租俾民居局咯，拎嗰啲錢擺向銀行，咁罷完租之後就攞翻出嚟。7、8年係罷2個月頭，之後又7、9年又開始罷租，係為垃圾，為嗰啲垃圾房啊，好多垃圾。
After the strike, after that long strike, we finally got the gates.
好多比而家聯誼會要同群眾解決呢個係嘛環境衛生啦、治安啦、清潔啦、維修啊各方面呢。
So maintenance has always been an issue, not only in fixing up things, but also in routine maintenance.
A lot of times the answer is maintenance issues aren't that important. They said you ought to live out in, somewhere else where shootings take place all the time, and that becomes a priority. But sometimes that's an excuse, because if you let the place go down, it'll lead to that stuff too.
最大問題呢就呢啲 lift。
So we have problem about the elevator because sometimes it's not working 2 or 3 days. So for us it's easy because we are young, but for all people they can come in. The stairs very slippery and they coming with the cane.
When this elevator breaks, then how do the seniors get back up to the top floors? You got to carry them up the stairways here. They have to physically lift them up, or else they stay home and they don't go anywhere.
有人有時暈響樹咧，暈2個鐘頭都滯過啦，猛叫啊！help me！ 救我啊！我暈住升降機啊！咁樣叫咯，有時冇人聽見㗎。
燈光即係治安同燈光係分唔開嘅。
So there was earlier this year, because folks on Russian Hill above Chinatown thought that the lights were too bright. So they painted, I can't believe it, they painted the lights so it would be dimmer.
咁啊，夜晚嗰啲人出街就好唔方便，特別嗰啲老人好驚。咁我哋要求佢立即呢，要同我哋換翻嗰啲燈光。
I mean, that's an example where the view of folks up the hill is more important than the safety of the tenants that live here?
Recently, the lighting at North Ping Yuen is one incident that the tenants are doing well because they got the lighting restored.
A lot of times, landlords assume immigrants would be silent and compliant and not complaining, but I think that's why we need community organizing and tenant organizing to show that if we work together, we can actually stand up for our rights and get better housing conditions.
We got to keep it looking good, smelling good, and if you don't take pride in it, it's going to fall apart.
Like any kind of housing, building, managing of a big public housing development like this needs constant upkeeping, maintenance, and also it requires the cooperation between housing authority, the tenants, and the community all together to work together. Like any rights people got, if you are not moving ahead, things will roll back.